When you're not ready for your struggles, your art can preserve it until you are. I'm going to talk about a piece that I made in December 22. And I had been making a practice of using body-led expression to make my art. And that's where you let your body make the choices as opposed to your thinking. In the past, I had always used my design trained brain, my art trained brain. I've been a designer for years and have taken numerous fine art classes since I was a teenager. And it was really hard to turn that off. But once I did, I was able to tap something really deep within me. And that is the power of expression. I was able to connect to things that I was not able to beforehand, quite frankly. Feelings especially were really hard for me to even notice because I had suppressed them for years, but they came out through art. And so I'm going to be sharing some of my art pieces here on YouTube with all of you who are watching, and my journal pages from that. It's something I did on LinkedIn in the beginning of 2024 for a little bit, just to get people insight into what can go on in a creative's mind, but also how you can do this too, whether you think you're creative or not, because making this piece was not about making great art. That's not what I set out to do. I had no idea what was going to happen. And sometimes I would get done with a piece and hate it completely. And then I would realize the only reason why I really hated it is because it reflected something back to me that I was really uncomfortable and I wasn't ready to explore. So let me share a little bit what I wrote on LinkedIn for this particular piece. So it is a self-portrait. This is me as I become me. The parts and pieces are available, and that's really about all the different squares. You can see that it's almost like a person kind of becoming. And like I said, I did this without thinking, and it's funny. That's what kids do. It's funny how you just put some, pencils or markers down in front of yourself. You start doodling mindlessly and something emerges. So the parts and pieces are available. This is about order, arrangement, and organization, not deleting, not editing, or replacing. It's bringing together because it all fits. But unlike a puzzle, there's no one defined way. I love that about ourselves. And so that's some lines that after I had made it that I didn't have access to, and I felt like I got a lot of insights into me from making this. So the body-led process, I call it body-led expression, really helps you to find that reflection of yourself. Something that I wrote in on that same LinkedIn post was, it helps you to see yourself, to get you to know yourself, to build awareness and gain insights. Not just the day you make it, but the more you look at it, the more you learn about yourself, you see yourself. And that is the power of your creative flow. When you can tap into that body-led expression and let everything just pour from you without trying to think about, is somebody going to recognize that this is supposed to be a house? Is somebody going to know this is supposed to be a person? I didn't know this was supposed to be a person. It's just shapes came out. I just drew without thinking is really how I went. I reduced the thinking. And what I mean by that, not necessarily my subconscious thinking, because I do believe that is what comes out with this process, but my conscious thinking, my critical thinking, my thinking on purpose. That's what I disregarded and tried to dampen. Essentially, it's almost like putting yourself in a state of self-hypnosis as you go through. And for me, it's making art. I use a combination of water-based markers on top of oil-based pencils, and I can get some beautiful blending and texture and depth in it. But for you, that might be dancing. It might be cooking. I've seen some amazing people who can cook the most fantastic things, or even cookie decorating. I didn't even know that was a whole thing, but apparently that is a whole thing. I've seen the most amazing artistic cookies that I don't even know who would eat. They're so beautiful. And so it's just finding your way of expressing. It's especially helpful when it's that kind of expression, meaning get it out of here, and push it outside of you. That's what I'm talking about when I say expressing, not thinking and rolling it around in your head and trying to come up with the best answer. No, this is about from here out without filtering it, without judging it, without trying to make it something that it may not be. And that takes a lot of trust to be able to do that, to hear all the icky stuff that sometimes runs around in your head and see it out in the open. It can be kind of frightening. And to be honest, sometimes really cool, good stuff can be equally as freaky. I've had that as well. But if you can figure out for you what helps you to get it from here out in the open, that's when you're going to start noticing a lot of insights into yourself. And so for my process, it was using art. I let my body make the decisions. It chose the colors. I didn't say, hand, stop here. And sometimes I would catch myself like, don't pick that color. That color is going to clash with this. And down the road, we're going to do X, Y, Z. And then I was like, ooh, nope, we don't know what we're doing down the road. We're going to just let everything spill out. And yeah, it might seem like it's clashing because you have a set viewpoint. You have a viewpoint that's based off of what you were taught, what you've experienced, and what you think worked and didn't work in the past. This is now, and we're going to quiet that all down, and we're going to open up curiosity, and we're going to just see what else could work and experience everything in a new way, and with a goal. Here's the key, with a goal that who cares what we're making? No one else needs to understand it. It doesn't have to look good. No one has to buy it. You don't even have to show it to anybody. For a long time, when I first started, I didn't show anybody when I was doing this. And then I showed a private group where I felt very comfortable. And then I put it on Instagram and nearly puked as soon as I pressed to put it out there. And then a year later, I started feeling really brave and I started sharing it on LinkedIn to give kind of insight into what I'm doing and how I'm helping people with their creativity. So sometimes people flourish through athletics, maybe running is your thing, and that really helps with your mindset and connection to your body and connection to yourself and starting to understand what you really want and what you desire from within. But for some of you, that might be creativity. And let's face it, everything is made with creativity. If you can't imagine it, it can't exist. So at least not in your world. So I'm a big fan of using creative strategies, principles, practices. I take everything that I learned as a designer and everything I experienced as a designer. And then when I started teaching other creatives, I take everything from that and I put it into this new program that I've been honing for a while. And if you want details, I'll put it down below if you're curious. But it is about using all of this creativity for everything in your life, even the non-creative things.